Every time they introduce new love interests for Leon S. Kennedy, I don't like any of them. Alright. It's time. Let's get rid of Sonic music. Get out of here. I will keep hearing Sonic music. It's Sonic and the Black Knight review time. I could not fit Sonic and the Black Knight, so we're doing Sonic and the Burger King. Let me get the text out of there. Let's start with positive. Let's be positive. The multiplayer is isometric. That's interesting. I would like to look at the multiplayer at some point. I don't know if I ever will, but I'll at least YouTube it after this. We'll just be reviewing the single player. Okay. Where is my text? Properties. Alright. What do we like about Sonic and the Black Knight? I do like the presentation's good. Whoops. Good. Swords, yeah. Swords might actually be bad for me in this game, but we'll get to that. Yeah, I think charming storybook presentation. I mean, I guess let's just some of it's fun. I don't know. I feel a little weird about putting the good and then like saying good gameplay after that kind of thing, right? But it also feels weird to just list gameplay or something like that. But yeah, fun storybook presentation. I like that. What else we got going on here? I'm gonna need some convincing Alex on the controls. Is there something in particular about the controls that you think work well? I know this is technically a community review, but I want to make sure we fit it on there. Good music. It's interesting. It is kind of like weird for a Sonic soundtrack, right? Because it has music like this that is just like, well, like this. I'm the only one who hears it right now. But like, you know, more like the string instrument kind of stuff, which is kind of fun in a way. But it does have like the Crush 40 stuff, right? So it's like a neat mix between like it's because it's a different setting for most Sonic games. I think it's a good like change from a typical Sonic soundtrack. I'm trying to think of how we convey that in a very short bullet point. Yeah, that's kind of the one thing about the community reviews is that like it's a little harder, I didn't realize, for you guys to comment on certain things, but I think that's fine. I generally will act as a gatekeeper to certain things if I feel differently, like I am involved in this process as well. So if you're like, those controls looked good, I'd be like, no, those controls do not feel good to me, at least. But at least to me. But I am convincible. I'm somebody who likes to hear somebody else's opinion on things. So if you tell me why you like something, I'm definitely interested. Full mechanics and integration of motion. We'll stick with great music for now. Would you be okay, MisterT, with like different take on Sonic style OST or something like that? How about like something like this? Like, I think that is what like is really cool about this game, particularly in terms of music, is like it is just like a different style of Sonic soundtrack, but it still sounds like a Sonic style soundtrack. Like, do you feel comfortable with that, MisterT, or do you want like a different era? I'm gonna hold off on the adventure like celebration of the what's it called? I do think there's probably space. So like part of me, my gut reaction is like, if this is like a celebration of a like the end of that era, like I would normally, I don't think, leave that out. But at the same time, if I were to review Final Fantasy IX or something like on here, I think Final Fantasy IX is like a great game that like encapsulates an entire series, right, to some degree. I don't know if I agree that this is such a weird and different thing than the Sonic Adventure games that I don't know. I'm not sure how that lines up as like a celebration outside of this, just was the fact that this is kind of the last one like it kind of thing before Sonic Colors. Hey, how about this? Like Electric Barrier, like I think there's a diversity of characters here. Character playstyles, like they all kind of feel like they have their own thing going on. Admittedly, we didn't get too deep into it, but like I think generally, like there's a good variety of character playstyles there. They're also like, do I want to talk about customization here? I don't really think the customization. I think the characters like play differently for sure. And so like having those other characters playable, I think is a fun thing. It's got replay value. What's the obviously we're not playing well, like I do think like sometimes the joke ones turn out to be like a point, right? In the case of this one, I think there is something there with like the diversity of characters. It's maybe not as great as like, I know I talk about Gunvolt all the time when it comes to Sonic. In my mind, Sonic and Gunvolt are very similar in a lot of ways. But when I think about like Gunvolt characters and how they play and how they are different, I think that's probably a better example of that, but I still think this is still a good implementation of that. I think the big problem with this game in terms of me giving it more credit for that character stuff is just, I think the core mechanics just weren't there to really make it fun to mess around with them. But I do appreciate that they did add those different characters, and they do feel different. They have, you know, their different types of aerial attacks and things like that. And even on the ground, I think they felt different despite them largely just doing different swipes. They did a lot with, in terms of like, I feel like the different types of movement when you're swiping on the ground, where I feel like Shadow in particular, I think felt the best because he came to just like a hard stop when he swiped, and I think that really worked out better than I expected it to. I feel like I normally would think I'd want Sonic to, or these games to keep moving while you're swiping, but in that particular case, so. Even if you don't want an electric barrier, it's there now. Intricate design. Alex, did you? Sorry, I forgot if I asked you. Did you give a point for like the replay stuff? We didn't really like. Obviously, in terms of streaming it, I haven't really seen what the replayability is. So, I imagine it's probably very much like the Secret Rings, where there's just like a lot of missions you can do. And I imagine there's probably like the aspect of being able to like get different weapons and skills, although again we didn't really interact with that in the main game at the very least. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out if there's a way I can be a bit more specific about that, Alex. I think maybe what we're looking for with that replay value is maybe something along the lines of that, like customization and ranking system. I mean, I think every Sonic game has a great ranking system. That's one I think strengths of Sonic games is they generally have a good ranking system that encourages you to play in different ways if you want to get a good rank. I almost never interact with them, but I appreciate them for what they are. So mission based structure leaves a lot for varied level design. Let me try typing something up here. How much space we got left? Okay, we got quite a bit left. I forget, do I usually bump that down a little bit? Do we usually have a gap there? I can't remember. It's fine, we'll leave it up there for now. I got a lot of 1 stars on this stream. Electric barrier, like I'm just like, whatever, we're done with this level, that's fine by me. A lot of times, like even with Gunvolt, like as long as I'm having fun and get through the level and do what I want to do in that level, I'm like, I'm good. I don't care if I got a D. I gotta F for fun. So, yeah, that is a complicated. I'm trying to think of like how to convey what you're saying, Alex. That is a lot to say, and I also feel like I haven't experienced enough to really say for sure with that stuff. There's a lot of things that go into the replay value of this game. I'm trying to think, because we did kind of have this conversation a little bit with Kaito Joker, where we basically said, or at least I said, the treasures are cool in that game, but they ultimately kind of did not matter in the end of things, like in the end, because the game didn't give you enough to really seek them out in a way that I felt was like valuable. I think Sonic and the Black Knight's different though. They do give you the tools to do what you want in terms of like ranking systems. I'll give it like the typical we'll praise the ranking system. I think that's generally like what we're talking about here in terms of like replayability. Do I want to put replayability or I want to put rankings? Like something specific about the ranking system. I feel like replayability might be too vague, is the thing. We'll put it there for now. Does replayability have a hyphen? We'll put it there for now. I might want to reword that. Let's get past that for now. What was the fan service, Mr. T? Was it the soundtrack is the big thing, or? Part of me wants to like give you guys the actual game music for these sections here, but I also don't know. Yeah, let me get you guys the game music. I think it'll be better than whatever is going on here. Interesting mechanics. What mechanics are interesting for that, Alex? So maybe callbacks to the previous games. Okay. Would you think, like, and this might not affect our list here, like, because, like, I don't think so much about fan service when it comes to this game. Like, it seems very standalone to me in a lot of ways. I mean, obviously the characters are overlapping and stuff, right? And, like, we have some, like, musical cues that come from those other games. But, like, would Sonic Generations probably be more of, like, the fan service-y kind of game? I feel like that game is, like, very much like, hey, we made a fan service game. Not Sonic Generations. Yeah, Sonic Generations. I feel like that game is a bit more, but, you know, we don't have to necessarily compare to that. I feel like the good musical throwbacks kind of fall under the Sonic OST, and like they're different styles, not always. They drop some music directly in. So Soul Search. There's like the timing aspect of that. I think part of the problems, Alex, with putting interesting mechanics, I'm probably very much going to contradict you on the mechanics. I think this game is not good at doing most of what it tries to do when it comes to gameplay. I think it's a game that's really much lost in what it's trying to figure out what it's trying to do. Yeah. I think I'm going to leave the fan service thing off, Mr. T. I feel like... I mean, I've played like a chunk of that era of Sonic games. Like, I played Adventure 2, Heroes, things like that. So I think I do have like some experience there. And like I think in the context of when this came out, at the very least, it probably wouldn't have been that much of like a fan servicey throwback thing, because this is just what Sonic was. And then they kind of moved on from that. I think you could definitely make an argument for that in the, like, returning back to this game, though, for sure. But I think that might not feel good enough about putting that on there. And, like, I don't know if the musical callbacks is really enough for that. And I know there's, like, some story throwbacks, but I think part of that's just the fact that it is, like, based in the Sonic... Or there's like a Sonic adaptation of the King Arthur story, so. I'm gonna put replayability and collectibles, Alex. Fun collectibles, and I'll leave that for you. I'm gonna take your word on that, because I just have not done enough of this game to say for sure on that. Like that. Yeah. I'm gonna leave the mechanics off. Yeah, that is. I think I probably would rather take the approach of this is like a weird like alternate universe Sonic thing, and in some ways it is kind of a fan service thing in that way, for sure. Like basically. I don't know if the execution's great, but the concept's still fun, right? Like, I think anyone would look at it and be like, "Oh man, it's got a cool world." In general, I think that's maybe the big thing. It's got like a nice world that's with it, and like, even though the characters I'd say personally I don't find super interesting or anything. Sorry, I'm just making a bunch of noise with my hand with this bottle. Super interesting. I do think there's like something with the world design there and how those characters are implemented. And then it is like so straight-faced about it too. It is not making fun of itself most of the time. The exception is Sonic, you know, and I think that's, at least this era of Sonic is very much just like whatever to everything, right? So it's a masterpiece. Don't worry. I got you, Oscar. I know what you want on this list. Not enough gag. That's a good. There's not enough gag. No, that's on the bad list. Yeah, I think it's like let's go with like I don't really like this phrase, but well-realized world, something like that. Story probably plays it a bit too straight-faced for me, but I think generally it's probably fine on that. And I think that kind of would fit into the world. Yeah, like, I forget if we actually left that on one of the reviews we had because we didn't have enough points, so we're just like, just leave the not enough gagged on there if I just joked about it, but... I feel like, at least for me, this is probably a good list here. You guys feel good about this? It's a masterpiece. It's a, yes, the two storybook Sonic games are the true masterpieces. I think I feel good about what's on screen here real quick. So, we're not locked in. So if you want me to back up real quick, let me know. I know there's a YouTube delay. I'm going to go ahead and swap over to the bad. Alright. I got a lot to say about the bad, I think. Maybe I don't have a lot to say, but I think my bad is pretty damning of just like, I don't think this game knows what it wants to do with its combat. It wants to be... And it's so hard to explain. Like, I think what this game wants you to do is keep moving and attack, but sometimes it feels like if you do that, it is just a huge mess. And it doesn't feel like... I don't know what this game wants me to do most of the time. Like, dodging enemies seems like the best thing to do, and even that is not a good solution either. Because, like, either you're going fast and you bump into an enemy, or, you know, if you guard, it's really hard to, like, back off from enemies at times. There is, like, the jump back. That's, like, a really nice jump back, but it doesn't, like, you can't cancel the animation in certain scenarios. Or in, like, how they mass you with enemies, like, makes it really hard to read, like, what attacks are coming in and stuff like that. Like there's just a lot going on, and I don't know if the game ever really... The only mechanic of this game that feels like it makes sense is the Soul Surge, or whatever it's called. And I don't even think the Soul Surge is good. Like, I think it's fine. Like, it basically slows down time, and you just do the timing swipe, and even that feels a little bit iffy at times. But, like, that part of the game feels like, okay, somebody thought about this, put this together, and it worked pretty well. Sonic dashes between them, so, like, there's, like, a speed element to it, even if he slows down when he gets up to enemies. And I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that. I think the Soul Surge is okay. I don't think it's great. But the core combat is just... I don't know what's going on with the core combat in this game. What is no GA? Or no gact? Gotcha. No gact. So maybe just like messy combat would sum up all my feelings of just like messy and kind of unresponsive. Like, I don't feel like I'm in control with most of the combat. I think that is probably does a good job of summing up how I feel about the gameplay of this game. Yeah, I think the villager stuff is like not really a huge thing. I think when it comes to frustrating difficulty, really that last stage, and I kind of expect that for some games in the final stage. I think more the thing that bothered me more is just like there are things that are not super well communicated in the game. Whether that be, you know, having to use the dash over the lightning bridge, you know, how you encounter that one boss that when you're fighting the knight initially, and like it's not clear that you need to use your soul surge dash into things. The last boss, they tell you to do the soul surge dash or whatever. But I don't think that King Arthur fight, the one when he's on the horseback, that it does that. So I think it's just like bad at communicating its like a lot of the elements. And like sometimes, and I have to go back and look. I noticed when we were playing tonight, there was the crosshair that would like close in on enemies. I don't remember that always being there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was always there. I don't know if like me putting a different class on gave me that crosshair ability. But like there are times where I could not see Sonic's sword when it seemed to be very much intending for me to use the Soul Surge, and like I couldn't actually time it because I was like, I have no idea when if the sword's glowing or not. No chows, yeah. No Tims. I never finished my Tim Tower. Rest in peace, Tim Tower. So I guess like does not message some. I wasn't seeing it hard enough. Okay, I won't consider that part and then in here. But I generally do feel like this game just doesn't do a good job of communicating what you need to be doing at times. I'm just trying to think of how to sum that up real quick. I think you said something earlier, Alex, right? That you said, like, it just... I thought you summed it up pretty well. Let me see if I can find it. Did you say unexplained mechanics, Alex? Is that what you said? Yeah, I guess, Mr. T, there's the question of, should every stage be beatable with every character, or at least should it be as easy with every character? Because that makes it like worth switching to another character sometimes to some degree, I think. And I think a lot of those problems with those different characters came from the fact that the core mechanics are just a mess in terms of like how the attacks work, how the movement works in general. I want to put movement in there. Or tell unexplained mechanics. I think unexplained mechanics will be best for playing slash or how's that on space? Ugh. Well, we'll do it as unexplained mechanics. I think there's probably a better word for that, but that's what we're doing. I guess we could also go a line down. Okay, there we go. Poorly explained mechanics. That works. Isn't that what I had typed before? Maybe I'm wrong. Yes, I forgot exactly what happened there, but I do remember Sonic literally saying the wrong thing. At one point. I think the movements in this game is probably generally fine. Like, I think there are things about it that are weird, but I don't think it's bad. I think it's just different from other Sonic games. So I don't think there's any movement issues. Technically, it seems great. I can't think of anything that was like a problem in terms of like visual fidelity. If there's frame rate issues, it wasn't enough for me to really care. Yeah, let's do we need to do anything with difficulty at all, like you mentioned earlier, Mr. T? I don't know if it was really unbalanced as much as like some of the platforming's weird. The movement's bad for platforming. That is true. Like the actual running and going through things, that's fine. But like for the few times it asks you to platform, it's not good. And then attacking backwards is bad. Moving backwards is also bad. Maybe movement is the real problem. It's just running forward is fine. Something like that. Awkward movement and jumping. Waggle. It is waggle, that's for sure. We don't have anything else to put, I'll just leave waggle there. Platforming. I think it's jumps in general, but I think... Well, will platforming push us over? I think platforming is going to push us over. We'll keep it jumping, just to keep it on one line. Got nothing else? Any other bad? I wish I could just like increase the font size of this particular line up here. Since there's all one text box, I can't individually change the font of each line, but I just want to like bold and highlight it. No gagged. I think noodle mode waggles enough meme posts on here. Noodle's not spicy enough, yeah. I think that probably comes like Alex. I think that fits under the messy and unresponsive controls and awkward movement and jumping. So, okay, I think we're probably good here. So let's see if this actually plays nice. And on our list here, it's somewhat fine. So we need to go to the final review. All right. Bring myself back. I'm alive again. Okay. I think everything fits pretty well here, outside of me covering up some of this text and my green screen not working nice. But I think this all looks fine. Alright. Let me hear your guys' scores. If you don't know, yeah, it's fine. I'm upside down. Electric barrier, we do 1 to 5 with 0.5s on part of the scale. We're generally trying to stick to what these faces, the faces are in terms of how they make us feel. Yeah, I would try to feel like that. Yeah. Let me or can I get this lady up here? She's defying gravity a bit. Let me get her right side up though. There we go. Loading up. She's got no shirt on in the back of this box. I mean, she's like doing a Sailor Moon transformation sequence, so it's not anything bad, but... So we got a 3, MisterT. Now I want to make sure we're clear. I want you guys to tell me your numbers, not what you think my number is. So... It sounds like we're floating maybe around like this area right now. Like around like maybe the 2.5 to 2 stars at the moment. 4? Alex, I don't know if I'm able to give you a 4. Let me... 2.5? Okay. Now this is not anything formal, electric barrier, so like you don't need to worry about me hunting you down and be like, you didn't play this video game, why are you participating in this review? It's all good fun. Controls really break the game. And maybe not even just the controls. There are things going on with that combat. But it does like reflect in the controls for sure. Let me show you where I'm feeling. I'm feeling like right here. This is like maybe... This is where I'm feeling at the moment. 1.5. 2.66. We will not be doing 0.66. So... Yeah. And Alex, you should say if you want to be a 4, that is where you want to be at. That doesn't mean that's where we're going to go to. But I like it gives me an idea. So this is where I'm at. I'm kind of on the other side of the scale of you, I think, Alex. I feel bad. I want to like this game. MisterT's got a 2. Oscar's got a 2.5. Electric Barrier, he's at 2.5. A 2 star. If I kind of outweigh Alex on the other side of the scale, I think we should stick in the range you guys are feeling. I think 2.5 is a little high for me, but also I think 2.5 is a little low for Alex. I feel a little bad giving this game the same score as Scourge Hive, but you can't directly compare review scores, right? So I think 2.5 is where we're gonna sit with this one. But it's a community review. I don't have to like it. So anyways, I think that's it. We feel good about this? I think we feel good about this. I'm gonna go away. I don't want to be here for this. It's stamp time. So that means you guys get to get out of there. Get out of there. Alright, I'm using different audio this time, so I'm not sure how this is going to work in terms of me stamping it. I think I'm just going to mute this. We stamp it. We did it, guys. Sonic and the Black Knight, 2.5 out of 10. 5. I don't know. I always say out of 10. I never look at 5-star review scores, but for the sake of this feature, I just do out of 5 because it's easier. Although technically we're doing like 10 with the 0.5 scale or whatever, but that was a rough one for me. Man, I am really disappointed I do not like Sonic and the Black Knight. I wanted to like Sonic and the Black Knight. I love the Wii. I love Waggle. I love Sword Game. Um, but just not for me. Just not for me, Sonic. Sorry. We'll play some more Sonic games in the future for sure.